Hi everyone, I'm sorry this has taken so long for me to start up this video. Been battling the flu and it's been a rough go of it. Hoping I can make it through this video without a coughing episode, so I'm going to do the best that I can. And I also am having issues with figuring out how to do voiceovers. If anybody can give me a little tip on that, that would be great. So I am going to do this a different way than I had planned, and hopefully it will be an okay way to do it. I am going to be reading a story out of this book, Ghost Stories of Berks County. True stories of ghosts, poltergeists, and haunted houses, plus fascinating and strange legends and folklore, written and compiled and told in a way that makes them interesting stories, by Charles J. Adams III. I'm going to read it looks like a short ghost story, and then I'm going to attempt to illustrate my interpretation of an illustration for this story would be. Ghosts in the Countryside. In an unremarkable farmhouse on Basket Road, overlooking the picturesque Ole Valley, we find a most extraordinary story. It is told by a prominent Reading banker and involves the house, his mother, and a most clamorous phantasm. Strangely enough, the ghost would usually become most active in the fall. It is not often that we find a seasonal specter. One evening, the banker's mother was sitting in her living room quietly going about her business when a rather loud thump was heard on the second floor. The woman gave a start, dropped what she was doing, and listened attentively. Seconds after the thump, a rumble was heard. It all came from the top of the stairs and apparently descended with a most thunderous rustle. This happened many times. Unexplained noises were heard on the second floor, and the rumble on the steps persisted. One night, the woman was entertaining neighbors when the uninvited guest made its presence known. The ghostly thump was heard on the stairs. Then, to everyone's shock, a grotesque scream echoed through the house. Then a flurry of footsteps down the steps. A door at the foot of the steps opened and slammed shut. A loud thump was heard outside. Within seconds, the show was over. The mortal occupants of the living room gazed at each other in disbelief. They had all heard the unearthly chain of events. Things got so bad that the suspicions of ghosts, coupled with the neighborhood gossip, affected the property value of the house. After the woman moved out, a businessman bought the home and the land around it. He had heard about the noisy guest, and to avoid all further aggravation, planned to demolish the haunted house and use the property for future development. After investigation, it was found that a previous owner of the old house had unalived himself in the dwelling. His method was cutting. They're not sure if it was a throat or a wrist. The past records were vague. And after he made that final slash, he ran down from an upstairs room, down the steps, and out the front door in dying terror. Today, he recreates this act to the shock and horror of mortal man. And that's the end of that story. Pretty interesting. I could understand that this would be a true story. It would make sense. as to what had happened to this man, and he recreates his last moments. So I'm going to try to illustrate how I interpret the story the best that I can. Like I never claim to be a professional, but here goes nothing. The main part of this story is how this man made his presence known after his death. So I'm going to try to come up with a set of steps, and those steps, because everything started on the second floor, will come down to the main floor. The best I know how to illustrate a ghostly presence without actually seeing the ghost, which doesn't seem to be the case here. They haven't really seen him, they've heard him. So I'm going to, at the bottom of the steps, there was a door that would open and shut as he would run out of the house with a scream. I'm going to try to do like a footprint heading out the door. Okay, so we'll start with being we're inside the house. Most of the stuff is starting in the second floor. We'll start the second floor over here. Hopefully you can see that. It's pretty faint. Let's see. There's a landing to the second floor. And we'll start the stairs. So I don't know. I don't know if you believe in these types of stories. But back in the day, it didn't seem to be as questionable as it is nowadays. Boy, my steps are a little hokey. But, hey, like I said, I never claimed to be a professional. So, this is how I'm going to do this. These are the insides of the steps here. Here's the landing. Okay. Now, I'm not sure what the architecture was in this house, but I'm gonna assume the old wooden railing in the steps. And it was probably a lot fancier than what I'm doing. I'm just going to do an average railing. Nothing real fancy. Just get the little spindles up here. The best that I can. handrail, of course. Since this is where the activity started, this is where he began his demise. Okay, now I'm gonna try that being the stairway. Okay, now we're going to have railing down here. Okay. Okay, so they say he started up here in one of the rooms or one of the areas up on the second floor. He would make his way down the steps, and at the bottom of the steps there was a door. So I will do this door here. Let's see. I'm going to change this up a little bit here. Like I said, this is just my interpretation of how the story was told and how our ghost made himself known. Can't imagine what that man had been going through that would have made him do what he did to himself. And now the sad part is, it seems that even afterlife, he's tormented enough that he continues this ritual. Now, I'm having him come down. They heard thumps. Is he coming down the steps? And him making his way. And as he's going, he's going to see the footsteps of this tormented soul as he runs out the doorway. It's really too bad we don't know really too much of what had happened. And as he's going out the door, I'm not sure how to illustrate the scream, but I'm going to go that would be his scream. And he's headed this way. This is the way. And this door slams shut after he has gone through it. Such a sad story. My interpretation of it. Hope it makes sense. Not sure how you would interpret it, but that's the best I could do. Hopefully, as my stories get longer and I can do voiceovers, it will be more interesting and easier to do, and I will get better in my drawings. If you have any comments, please comment below and let me know what you think, what your interpretation would be, if there was something different that you remember in the story that I forgot to put in here. I mean, I didn't get into the detail of how he did his own demise, but I did try to recreate how he continues his unfortunate end. Okay, I hope you liked it. Thank you for watching. Please hit the like button, comment, subscribe if you haven't. And I'm hoping to be able to get better and more interesting as time goes on. And like I said, if anybody knows how an easy way for me to do voiceover, I would really love to try that instead, so I could be telling the story as I'm drawing it. This way I have to read the story, get the idea in my head of what the story is about, and then create it. If this is fine too, let me know if you think this is still a good way of doing it. Thank you so much, and I hope to see all of you in the next one. Thank you. Bye-bye. Until next time.